Welcome to another session in Java. Today we are going to look at packages in Java. I'm Manibhushan D'Souza. Let's proceed with the topics. So what are packages? We are all familiar with the groups in WhatsApp. So why do you create groups in WhatsApp? The reason why you create groups in WhatsApp is you want to organize the content. Suppose let's assume that there are no groups in WhatsApp. In that case, what's going to happen? You might be knowing this in olden days. Whenever we used to receive the SMS, it used to come as one message, that's all. And we have to search through all the messages in order to find the related messages. It was so difficult for us to search through all the previous messages. But what has happened in WhatsApp is they have created groups for us. So we can have groups of a computer science subject, we can have groups for physics subject, and we can have groups for some other entertainment related topics. Now, what is the advantage over here? It is easier for us to find the related content. So one of the reasons why we want to group something in WhatsApp is we want to organize them so that there won't be any clutter in the content. In the same way, at home, if you have a sibling, like if you have your sister or brother, what you will do is your books, you will keep it separate. You will group them separate so that it is easier for you to access your content. Maybe your brother or sister will also group their content. In Java, whenever we create a class, we are going to store them in files. And we want to arrange these files together so that related files are put at one place. Otherwise, what's going to happen is there will be too many files and it will be very difficult for you to search the related file. So package is a mechanism for organizing your code. You can combine the related files in particular related classes together inside one package and have them as one group. So package contains group of classes. In the later classes, you are going to learn about interfaces. You will see them, what are interfaces and what are classes. You can also group the interfaces together, and again we can have a group inside the other group. So you may be familiar with that. So what you have inside your bag, the backpack that you carry, there are many compartments are there. So you keep your laptop or books at one of the compartment and the other in the other compartment. So you can also have sub packages inside a packages. One of the advantage of having package is that package is both organizational unit. That means to say that you can group the related content or the related codes together in one piece, as well as it helps you to control the access to the content within that group. So you know very well, when you keep your books or when you keep your content inside your bag, you won't allow others to access them. So in the way, why do you carry your backpack or why do you carry your bags is when you keep the content inside the bag, you actually prevent others from accessing it. So in other words, you can protect the content from the outside world. So that's the advantage of having something inside a container, and package acts as a container. So package also provides a way in which you can say that who can access the files which are there inside the packages. So in other words, you can control the access to the content. So to put it in a simple way, packages also provide a layer of encapsulation to the content which are there inside the packages. There are two uses for packages. One, it provides a mechanism by which a related piece of programs can be organized as a unit. So when you create a large application, so if you are creating an exercises in your practical classes, you may not appreciate the use of packages. When you create a really big application, which are like a commercial application, there will be too many classes, and if you put all the classes at one place, there are two things that can create problem. One is to search for the class. It will be difficult. Let's imagine you have so many classes are there. Now I'm sure during after the examination, when the papers are given to you, and if the papers are not arranged, your answer scripts are given back to you. If the answer scripts are not arranged in the proper order, then it will be very difficult for you to search for the answer script. Now if you go to your teacher and ask, I want to see my paper, and if the papers are not arranged, then it will be very difficult. Then you have to manually go through individual papers. So when there are too many papers, when there are like 50 students or 100 students are there inside the class, and searching for their papers is very difficult. Same way, if there are 100 classes are there and they are there at only one particular place, it will be very difficult to search for them, to access them. Okay. The other important use of it is name conflict. Now you know very well, if there are many students are there inside your class. Now when you go to physics class for example, or maths class for that matter, so there will be many students who are there, and there can be two students with the same name. So for example, just to give you an example, so there can be Asha in PMCS and Asha from the PCM. In that case, what's going to happen? So when somebody refers to Asha, then you may have to say whether the Asha is from PMCS or whether she is from PCM. So if you have two persons with the same name, then it's going to be a confusing thing. Same way, when just imagine you are creating a very large project and there are too many classes are there, definitely there is going to be a naming problem that will occur. Okay, so why do you use the packages? So packages provide a mechanism by which the related programs, you can organize them as a unit. For example, employee details, one piece, all the classes which are there in the employees, you can keep it together. So for example, if you are creating a application for student management system, then you can have all the students related application or student related content in one package. In the same way, the classes related application or the classes inside one. So you can have a way in which you can arrange or you can organize the content together. Okay. One of the good thing about the packages is when there are classes with the same name, you can have it at the same place, but you can keep them in separate packages. This way you can avoid the naming conflict. So just to give you an example, suppose say you are creating an application for the entire college. Then what you can do is you can keep the student related classes in one package, the staff related, that is the teaching staff, teachers related content in one. You can have the other staff, support staff in one content. So you can have, for example, you can have a class called as salary in the staff, that is the teachers, as well as salary in the support staff also. So that is office staff also. So the same name can be there in different packages. However, if the same name is there in the same package, So for example, if I create a salary here, and if I create one more salary here, then this is going to create a naming conflict, because there are two files with the same name, which is not generally allowed by the operating system. So when you use the package, I can give the name for this as teachers. Let's say I will just use a short form here as, and I'm going to give them as staff. So I can say teacher dot salary, this is one name, and I can say staff dot salary. Now you notice over here that together, even though salary is common, together they are different names altogether. Okay, so you can have a separation of the same file or the same class by using a package. Okay, so classes that are defined within the package has to be accessed using the package name. For example, if I create a staff under teacher, then I have to say teacher dot salary. Similarly, I have to say staff dot salary. So using the package name, I have to use the package name as well as the class name in order to access the content. Second one is, I've already told you, there are two things. One is to provide a mechanism in which you can organize the content. The second is to have the access control. So what you can do is, all the classes which are inside a particular package, so all the classes which are inside the package, you can prevent the outsiders from accessing this content. So you can, in other words, you can have a access control. You can say that only the classes from within the package can access the other content. Others outside the world cannot use the content of the package. Okay, so that, how do I do that thing? I can make the content of this class as private to the package, so that only the classes or the content within the package can be accessed, but outside people cannot access the content. Okay, so this way I can have the access control there. Now when we look at the packages, there are two analogy that you have to understand here. So package acts as a container. So package acts as a container for classes. So you can have many classes inside a package. By the way, what is a class? Class, so you can say that package is a container for classes. What about the class? Class is a container for the data, that is variable, and the methods. You know very well, class consists of variables and methods put together in a single unit. So class is a container for the data as well as the code, whereas a package is a container for the classes and maybe other sub packages inside it. Okay. Now let's look at one other concept. This is just a concept called as namespace. So what is a namespace? Now, because most of you are familiar with the mathematics, I can say consider set of I, okay, belonging to integers. So if I say that, what is the meaning of it? Set of all I, for all I, if I say for all I which are integers. So what is the meaning of that? Okay, so I can take, just give me a second. So I can take any integer value. So what are the integers value? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on and so forth, and -1, -2 and so on and so forth. So these are all integers value. So you can have set of integers. So what are these set of integers? Set of integers could be -1, 0, +1, okay, plus 2 plus 3. Now I cannot repeat this one. Plus 4 and 4 and 4, if I do it, then they are not. They are same elements. So 4 is same, 4 is same, 4 is same. So we don't repeat the elements because it is the same value. Now if you say consider I is equal to 4. If you say I is equal to 4, then if there are repetition, then somebody is going to ask a question. Is it this 4 that you are talking about? Is it this 4 that you are talking about? Is it this 4 that you are talking about? And you know very well, all of them are same. So when you have a repetition, there will be a confusion. So generally what is done is, we write only one element. We don't repeat the elements in the set. Similarly, when we create a class, okay, within the same region, so these are set of integers. Okay, now if I take a set of reals, so in the set of reals, you know very well, a set of reals is not even integer, rational and irrationals. So in the reals also you can have -1, +1 and so on. So this is a separate set. Now this set and this set is a different one. So you can have the same element. In other words, you can have the same elements in different set. That's not going to create a problem. But within a set, you can have the repetition of the element. So within a given set, you can't have a repetition. Same element cannot be repeated. Whereas in the other set, the same element can be repeated. Hope you get that simple idea. So within a given space, you can have the same name, but in a different place, you can have different name. For example, I will give you a simple example from here. So you have a place called as Uchila, okay, in Udupi. So everybody is familiar with that. So in Udupi, you have a place called as Uchila. But if you come to Mangalore, there is also a place called Uchila. But that is in Dakshina Kannada. I'll keep it district there, Dakshina Kannada. So same place, same name, but in different places. It is allowed. Now what will happen if there is one more Uchila in Udupi? So that's going to happen. So for example, in Mangalore, so in Dakshina Kannada, when I say Mangalore, so there is a place called as Kaikamba. There are two places with the name Kaikamba. So one Kaikamba is there in Maroli. So we say that Maroli Kaikamba. The other Kaikamba that you say in Gurupura. So there are two Kaikamba there. One is in Maroli and the other one is Gurupura. Now, if you say I want to go to Kaikamba in Dakshina Kannada, then anybody is going to ask whether it is a Maroli Kaikamba that you want to go or whether it is a Gurupura Kaikamba. Which Kaikamba that you want to go. So this will create a problem. Now remember, if the same name appears in the same place, so within a same place, if the name gets repeated, so for example, if the Kaikamba name gets repeated, then it's going to create a problem. And I am very sure in your class also same problem will happen. So for example, let's give an example. I'll again take the example of Asha. If there are two Asha, which are there students or girls are there with the same name called as Asha in the same class, then what happens if I come to your class and say, okay, Asha, your principal is calling you, then they will ask which Asha. So whether I am the one, whether she is the one, whether a tall one or a short one, and so on and so forth. So you want to distinguish between them. So when you have the names, same name at the same place, then it's going to create a problem. Now let's come to the namespace. Now what is this namespace? Namespace is a declarative region. For example, I gave you set of all integers. When I say set of all integers, so 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you are saying, they are all actually, what is one? It's a name given to something. To is the name given to something. Name given to something. Okay. So you have different names. From there you can take anything. So this is a declarative region. So set of all the names which are there. From there you take one name. So I am not sure whether you have seen this one. So whenever people want to give names, so during the naming ceremony, so they will say that for your child the name starts with D is a good one. So what parents will do, they will search for the names that is starting with the Deepa or Dinesh, or if it is a boy. So they whenever Pujari says okay, it must start with the D, they will I don't know whether you've seen that there is a book with the names, just the names, list of names. You can get the names from there. If you don't get it, you can even search in the internet, wherein you get the names of starting with the different letters. So namespace is like that. You have lots of names from which you can take one name. For example, if I take a set of integer, there are a lot of integers are there. I can take any integer out of it. Same way, so if a set of all integers are there, I can take one integer. In the same way, assume that lot of names are there, I can take one names from here. For what I am taking that name? I am taking that name to give reference to my class. So whenever I want to save my class, I want to give a name like this is a student class, this is an employee class, or this is a salary class. I want to give a name to my code. So when you save a file, you want to give a name to this file name or to the class in particular. So you want to give a name to your class. So for that you need a name. All these names will be available in the namespace. So set of all the names, possible names that you can have. However, I said set here. So when I say set, you can't have the repetition. You can't have student and you can have one more student here. If you have two students with the same name, what will happen is it will get confused, as I have already told you. Whenever there are two Asha are there in the same class, you are going to create it's going to create a problem. In the same way, a namespace, let's come back to the technique over here. So what is a namespace? Namespace, it defines a declarative region from which contains all the names. For example, if you list out all the names of all the places which are there in Udupi, so you will get all the names. Udupi region, whatever names are there, maybe Karkala and so on and so forth, you give all the names. So that becomes a namespace. Okay. So we can have different namespace. So I can have the names of all the places in Udupi. I can have all the names in Dakshina Kannada. I can have all the names in Uttara Kannada. I can have all the names in Shivamogga. So what you notice that that is, instead of saying all the names, we use the word namespace. So namespace is a region wherein you give the names. What is the restriction over here? No two places or no two names can be unique. That means you can't have two classes with the same name. So within the namespace, I can't have two classes with the same name. Suppose if I give a name to this class as A, I cannot call the other class also as A, because it is going to create a problem. Okay, I have to give some other name. Now what if it is not possible for me to give the other name for it? In that case, I can split, I can partition the namespace. For example, there are places called as Uchila in Karnataka. One Uchila is there in the Udupi region. Other Uchila is there in the Dakshina Kannada region. So you have what you have done. The namespace is same. Uchila is there, but they are there in different places. One of the best example that you can think of it is the Mahatma Gandhi Road, MG Road, which you are familiar. You go to any city inside India, MG Road will be there. Any city, one of the road will be called as MG Road, Mahatma Gandhi Road. Now, if you just go into in India and ask anybody, I want to go to MG Road, they will say, which is that place, which city, which state are you talking about? MG Road is there, Mahatma Gandhi Road is there, everywhere. So you have to be very specific. MG Road of Udupi, MG Road of Mangalore, MG Road of Bangalore, MG Road of Mysore, specific. So what you are doing, MG Road, same MG Road is there. So you are dividing it and saying that it is in Udupi, it is in Mangalore, it is in Bangalore. All of them, what are all these things? They are namespace. There are many cities which are there in Bangalore. You will have many names here. Same name may come even in the Udupi. Same name may come in Mangalore, but the namespace is different. Why? This is Bangalore namespace. This is Udupi namespace. This is the Dakshina Kannada namespace. Okay, same name in Bangalore, MG Road, same name in Udupi, MG Road, same name in Dakshina Kannada, MG Road, but in different. So what you have done, you have partitioned the namespace. Now, how do I do it in program? Yeah, the idea you know very well. So logically, if you look at this mathematics, consider set of all integers. So you don't get anything in your mind, but you know that they are integers. If I say consider set of all real numbers, what will come in your mind? Now, if I say that, if I say, okay, consider all fractions. What did you get in your mind? So nothing. Okay, it's blank, but you know that there will be some fractions. Okay, set of all, consider all set of rational numbers, set of all complex numbers. What will come into your mind? What is there in your mind? Nothing. But when I say namespace, I know that it is a partition, but nothing is going to come. It will be blank. If I say consider a namespace, what will come to your mind? Blank. But in physically, if you want to do it, what are you going to do? You are going to say that it is a package. Okay, namespace is nothing but a package. Package is something that you can physically see. How you can physically see? Have you seen a folder in your machine? So if you go to your machine, you have a folder. Let me create a folder. So folder for first BSc. So can you see this one? So this is all the inside this. I am going to keep all the names of all the first year students. Similarly, I can create a second BSc. I can create a third BSc. So can you get something in your mind? So I can say this is, let me make it slightly larger, not that much. Okay, so this is the first year namespace, this is the second year namespace, this is the third year namespace. Again, it will, instead of saying that, what I am going to say is, this is first year package. Everything first year related material will come here. Second year related material will come here. Third year related material will come here. So what we call this one in Windows, you call it as a folder or directory in Unix, but in Java what you call it as, you call this as a package. Hope you get this. Inside this package, I can create, where is the text of, I can create employee dot Java. Let me delete this one. Okay, let's say, okay, so I have created a package, employee. Same package, okay, by employee I will employee maybe this one, I will create a package called as Asha. So same Asha can be there in the second year package. Same Asha can be there in the first year package. So in the first year also you have the Asha. In the second year also you have, let me go here and let me show that thing. So in the first year also you have Asha. Second year also you have Asha. Third year also you have Asha. So everywhere you have Asha. Okay, but they are there in the different namespace or different packages. Okay, so what's the advantage of packages? When you create a package, you can avoid the naming conflict. Now, what is this naming conflict? Remember, when we create a large package in industry, for example, when they develop a package, the application, the whole application is not designed by one person. It will be designed by many teams, not one team. A team may contain 4 or 5 members. There will be many teams working on a bigger project. Like if you are doing a banking application, or any other application for that matter. So what will happen is one team will give a name. The same name may be given by the other team. Now what happens when they combine the work of 2 teams? The same class name is there. Then there will be a problem. They will say that I created this name first. You change your name. The person will say I will not change that name. If I change this name, I have to change everywhere. So there will be a naming conflict. So how to avoid that naming conflict is to have a namespace, or in other words, packages. Okay. Now let's come to the packages. Now so far you might have created a Java application, the Java class, and you might have executed the Java class. Now you might not have used a word called as package, or you may not be aware of the existence of a package. Then definitely you will ask a question, sir, so far I never used a package, but still my Java program is working. How come it is working? Okay. Very important thing about Java is, whether you like it or not, whatever class you create in Java must belong to some package. Okay, whether you explicitly say it or whether you don't say it, all the classes in Java must belong to some package. So when you cannot have a class somewhere directly, they must belong to a package. They must be inside one package. So then you will tell me that, okay sir, that's correct, but I created the application, Java application, but I never created any package so far, but still I am able to execute it. How is it possible? It is possible because when you don't specify a package name, it is assumed that it belongs to a package called as a default package. Remember, it's not the name. It is assumed to belong to a package called as a default package. A default package does not have any name. That's a very important thing. Okay, you know, if you say set, what is this? This is also a set. How many elements are there? There is no elements in it. So that's why you call it as a null set from mathematics. Okay, so empty set is also a set. Similarly, a package without name is also a package, but empty set you call it as null set. You are calling it as null set. What we call empty the package without a name, what we call it as? We call that as a default package. So it is there is no name. Remember, I am not saying that it is empty. There will be a class, but there is no name for that package. So you have a package, you have a container, but there is no name for that. But how do you refer it? You say it is a default package. So whenever you create a package, or whenever you create a class, if you don't give a name of the package, if you don't tell the Java that this class belongs to a particular package, if you don't say that, Java will assume that it belongs to a default package. Default package has no name. That is why it is transparent. So when you don't give the package name, Java assumes that it belongs to the default package because you have not given the name. What is a default package? Default package is something that does not have the name. So default package is something that does not have any name. And when you created a class, you didn't give a name. So what does that mean? It belongs to the default package. Hope you get that thing. So when you don't give a name, it is assumed that that particular class belongs to a default package. Why? Because default package does not have a name. Okay. Now how do I create a package? So that's the next one. I told you that all the classes in Java must have a name, or must have a package. it must belongs to a package. So that is what I told you, and I also told you that if you don't give a name, package name, it will be placed inside a default package. Now what if I want to create my own package? To create a package, it's very simple. You have to just put one word called as package in your source code. This is a keyword, so you have to use the keyword called as package inside your source file. Now whenever you use this word package, any class that you create with the package followed by the name of the package will be assumed to be part of that particular package. So let me go over here to my NetBeans. I have some NetBeans content over here. Let me show over here. So I'm there inside. Let me clear all this thing. I've created a demonstration package, demonstration application, and this demonstration application, so you can notice here demonstration application. I am going to create a class here. Right click and say new Java class. Let's say I'm going to create a class called as Asha, just to give you an example. So this class, if you look at here, this class is inside a package called as demonstration. So this is a package that contains Asha. Why this class is there inside the package Asha? Not because I am showing it graphically, I am showing it graphically the content over here. It's not that. Java does not care about these things. What Java cares is this one line. And what is that one line? And that is this line. So I say that a class called as Asha, so a class called as Asha belongs to a package called demonstration. If I say it belongs to a package first BSC, what does that mean? So what does this mean? It just means to say that a class called as Asha belongs to a package called first BSC. So how do you create a package? You just use the word package followed by the name of the package. Again, naming convention you have to follow. You know very well. I can put a space here and then create a mess there. So when you give a name, you know how to give a name to the variable. So I can create that thing. Now when I do that thing, the NetBeans is not really happy. It just says that it is incorrect. It is not for Java. It is for NetBeans. Why? The NetBeans thinks that, so you placed Asha inside demonstration. And now you are saying that Asha is inside BSC. But where is Asha? Asha is there inside demonstration. But here you are saying that it is there inside BSC. So it says that it is incorrect packet. It is not. Asha is, you have placed Asha inside demonstration. So make proper changes and say that it belongs to demonstration. So in this case, Asha belongs to a demonstration. Hope you get that thing. Okay. So let me come back to the PowerPoint here and let's continue. Okay. Classes that are defined within that file will belong to that particular package. That is simple as that. So how do you create a package? Very simple. You give the word keyword package followed by the name of the package. For example, if I want to create a package called as project, I say package and then project. Okay. Now, how does the Java create a package? As I already told you, a package is nothing but a folder in your Windows or a directory in your Unix or DOS. Okay, so your classes will be placed inside a directory. Now, if you go here to the NetBeans, I'm going to just run this. There is nothing is there. Why I'm running this is I want it to compile. That's all. You want it to build it. Now I go to the files here and demonstration, and if you look at here under source, it actually created a folder. If it's possible, I will open up that particular location in Windows and just show you that where is it. Okay. Now if you notice over here, whatever I have created, okay, that will be there inside a folder. So it is inside, so don't worry about that. So there is a demonstration folder. Let me zoom in for you if you are not able to see. There is a demonstration folder. You know what is a folder in Windows, I don't have to tell you. Inside that there is asha.java, demonstration.java. There are two files are there. Now you may say, where is this demonstration, sir? There is actually, whenever you create an application in NetBeans, it creates one more class called as, this is a startup class that it just creates called as demonstration. There are actually two classes are there. One is demonstration.java and the other one is asha.java. The one that I created is the asha.java. So this is how you create a package, and these packages are placed inside a folder. So packages are placed inside a folder. And other important thing that you need to remember about the packages is that package names are case sensitive. What does that mean? Is if you create a package called as BSC, and if you create a file called as BSC, if you create a package called as BSC, all of them may be BSC for you. For Java, this is all capitals, this is all small case, and so on and so forth. So it is case sensitive. Very, very important thing. The folder names must also be similarly named. So if you say BSC like this, then this is the class that it is referring to. So very extremely careful with that. So your folder name must also be same. In case of case sensitive, I'm talking about case, capitalization must be proper. You cannot create a folder like this BSC and then inside your Java program you cannot say package BSC. This will not work. Why this will not work is, it is not referring to this folder, because this is in capitals, this is in small cases. So in Windows, you know very well, whenever you create a folder, you can be very casual and you can give any name. So I can create a name like this. I can create a folder BCA, okay, here, and I can go to Java program and say inside my Java program I can say that package BCA. Now this package is not same as the one that I am using over here. Why? Because this one is in all capitals. So your folder name and the word that you are using, where in your Java program. So you write demonstration. It is, if you look at here, they are all in small case. The folder name must also be, if you look at here, the folder name, I will just make it as maybe large. The folder name must be same. So demonstration, if you notice, package demonstration means the folder name package demonstration must be same. You cannot change that name. Now let's look at how we can create the package hierarchy. Now we are familiar that in any operating system for that matter, I can create a folder inside folder. For example, I have a BCA folder over here. I'm going just to zoom in for you so that you can see it properly. So I have a BCA folder here. Inside this, I can create one more folder. So I can create first sem, one folder. So in the same way, I can also create one other folder, let's say second sem. I can create a folder inside other folder. So how do I access the first folder? Now you notice here, so this is going to be accessed as inside BCA you have first semester, so one inside the other. In the same way, we can also create one folder inside the other folder. Suppose if I have one folder, inside this I create one other folder, inside this I create one other folder. So what I say is the first folder, this is inside, so let's say X is inside Y and Y is inside Z. So we have three folders. How do I specify that in my program? In my program I say Z dot Y dot X. So X is inside Y and Y is inside Z. So this forms, so if you notice over here, one is inside the other is inside the next one. So this forms a kind of hierarchy. So you are familiar with the concept of a hierarchy. So this is what we form. So for example, if you create a folder X inside Y inside Z, you can create a hierarchical structure. To access one folder and the one package inside the other package, we use Piret as the separator. So if I have one package, inside that if I have one other package, inside that I have one other package. So to access one folder, one package, we use the dot. So dot is used to access something. So for example, I can say dot, let me change the color for you. So I can say X dot Y dot Z. So what does that mean? So inside that inside X I have Y, inside Y I have Z. So for example, I have Udupi. Inside Udupi I have college. Inside college I have BSc. Inside that I have first semester. So Udupi contains college contains BSc, BSc contains first semester. So the separation over here that you can notice is the dot. So we use dot to separate one folder or one package and the other package. Now the question generally comes, how do you search for the content? So you may have a very hierarchy here. One folder may be inside the other folder, so or one package may contain some other package, and the other package may contain some additional package, and it may contain some other package. So the next question generally comes is, how does the Java searches for the packages or the classes for that matter? Now, you know, when you miss something, so for example, when you want to go to college, suppose if you want to search for a pen, where do you search for the pen? So which is the starting point where you want to search for the pen? So you're going to the college now at maybe 8:30, you want to go to college, and then you suddenly remember that I have to take the pen. So where do you search for the pen? Naturally, you won't go to a kitchen for searching the pen. Generally what you do is you go to your study table, and in the study table you try to search for the pen. If it is not there, then you will search the drawer of that study table. Maybe then you may go and search for a rack, or maybe inside your bag. So there is a sequence in which you start searching. So you just don't go and search the pen inside a pressure cooker. Naturally it may not be there inside a pressure cooker. So in the same way, when you tell the Java that I want to use a particular package or I want to use a particular class, it has to start searching from one particular place. So that's what we call it as a default searching. So whenever you tell the Java that I want to use this package or I want to use this particular class, what the Java will do is, Java runtime, what it will do is, it will start searching for that file, or for that matter for that package inside the existing folder. So for example, what I mean to say is, suppose you are inside the BCA, you can notice I'm going just to zoom in. So you are inside BCA and inside first semester. Now you are here. Now suppose if you ask the Java search for something, so if you ask for the Java for search for something, search for a file, it will start searching here. It will start from this place. So whether it is there here or maybe inside a folder that is contained in it. For example, if I go to this semester, let's say, let me zoom in. So let me zoom in for you. So I am there inside BCA now. So if I tell the Java that search for something, Java will start searching here inside BCA itself, or it will search inside second sem or first sem. So that means inside the folder, and maybe if there is a subfolder inside this subfolder. So that is the starting location. So whenever you tell the Java that use this class or use this package, Java will start searching from the current location. So that is the current directory. However, if the files are not there in the current directory, you can also tell the Java that you start searching from a particular place or a particular directory or subdirectory. How do you do that is you specify that in the class path. Generally, you do it in the operating system. So in the operating system, if you tell the class path, the operating system will start searching for it. How do I set the path? To set the path, you can use the class path as a option. CP, I'm going to specify that. In the operating system, if you really want to do it, then what you can do here is, suppose say you have the operating system here. You go to the My Computer, that is my PC, and then go to the My Computer over here. Let me zoom in for you. Okay, so you just click on this PC and then go to the computer, and in the computer you have the system properties. If you click on that system properties, I've already done that thing. So you are going to get this kind of option. Just scroll down, directly scroll down, and you will get a option for advanced system setting. So use this advanced system setting for setting the class path. So I'm going to just click on the advanced system setting. When I do it, I'm going to get the system properties. So I get system properties. In that, you go to the environment variables. So you get the option over here. So in the system properties, you get environment variable. So click on this environment variable, and there are two variables which are there. One is for the current user. So for the current user, that is I've logged in, so I get one option. Or for the system variable itself, for entire system, you get that thing. You can set the path for the current user only, or you can set it for the entire system. If I set it here, it is only meant for the current user, that is money. That is I have logged in as money. Now if I do it here, it will be available for everyone. So I'm going to go to this path over here, and if you want to set the path, you can just click on new, or I'm going to just show you. I have not specified that. So you can notice that many paths are there. How it's going to search for it? It will search for the Oracle and so on and so forth and so on. And I have just specified that for Java, you have to go for program files, Java, JDK 1.8 and bin. So this is where you have to search for the binary files. So you can specify the path here by clicking on new and then specifying the option. Okay. Let's I'm going to just cancel this one. So this is how you can specify. You can also specify the path using the class path. This is how you can do it. There is another way around in which you can do it, and that is, let me start the command prompt. Now when you are compiling, let me go to the command prompt over here, and in the command prompt, let me zoom in for you. So in the command prompt, you know how to compile. You say Java C. So when you say Java C, I'm going to just put Java C and press enter. I will get the help for the Java. So here you will notice there is one place wherein you can specify the path. So that is either you can say class path or CP shortcut for that. This will specify where to find the user classes and annotation. Okay, so if at all you want to specify a class path, you can use -cp and then or -class path. One among them you can use it. So for example, if I want the class to be searched, so I'm going to say Java C, and I want to search for, I want to use a particular class path. Let's say I say D BCA. So I don't have that thing, and my files, this is the location where I want it to search for the file. Then I can specify this is the path. So I can specify a path here where the system has to search for that particular file or that particular package for that matter. So during the compilation also you can specify that. Now let's look at a simple example how I can create a simple package and the class. Now I'm going to show this demonstration using the NetBeans, and then I'm going to do it manually using the command prompt. So let's go and let's do it in the NetBeans. So I have a package here. So let's say I'm going to show you this one. I have the project here. In my project, I'm going to create a new package. How do I create a new package? I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to say new Java package. So it's much easier in NetBeans to do all these simple things. So I'm going to say this is my package. I'm going to call this one as BSC as my package name, BSC. Let me finish it off. That's the only thing you need to do, and you notice that it has created a package for me. Inside this package I'm going to add, so I'm selecting this. Inside this I'm going to add a new Java class, and I'm going to call this one as student. Okay, the class name that I'm going to give it as student. Let me finish it off, and now if you notice over here inside BSC, if you look at here, inside BSC, you have a class called as student. So I created a student class inside the package BSC. So I have the class over here. Let me create a few things for the student. So I'm going to say a string, yes name, and say int roll number. Okay, that's all I need to do. Let me put a constructor here, and I'm going to quickly get the constructor. I'm just giving the constructor here, and let me get these two things. So get roll number, oops, Control Z, and let's say get. I'm quickly doing it. I'm not going to type the things and waste your time as well as my time. And I'm going to set. So we have a few things over here. I have a student, and I have a parameterized constructor, and I have the getter and setter for that. So this is a very simple thing that any class can have it. So the very important thing about this particular thing is these are all remark statements. So I'm going to just get rid of those remark statements just to tell you that. So if at all you are creating any class, and if at all you want to specify that there is a package, then the package must be the first thing that you are going to specify. This must be the first thing that has to come in that particular file. So the first thing that you write in any file, remember this remark statement, you can write it, and you know very well. Remark statement has nothing to do with the program execution. They will be ignored by the compiler. So whether you write the remark or not, that's not going to make any difference. However, the first executable code that the statement that you are going to write is the package. If at all you want a package, if you don't specify this, if you don't write this one, then it is assumed that this class, that is the student class, will be part of default package. And I've already told you default package does not have a name. So if you don't write this statement, that means it is not part of any package. Now I have written that student is part of a BSc package. So how do I access a student? So if at all I want to access the student, then I have to specify BSc dot student. I have to say like this. So this is the fully qualified name of the class preceded by the name of the package. The full name of this is student dot package. I'm just giving you an example there how to do that thing. So always remember, the first thing that you are going to write in any file is the package. If at all you want a package, specify the name of the package. How do you do that? Package, which is the keyword, followed by the name of the package. Okay. Now suppose if I want to access this in some other files. So how do I access that thing? So let me show you over here. So if you notice in this case, I have the student in one package. I have the demonstration. So this is the file in the other file. Now I want to access this file inside a demonstration. So how do I access the student file inside my demonstration? Remember, student is inside BSc and demonstration, this file, is inside some other package. So how do I access something in other package? Let me do that with a simple thing. I'm going to create one other package. So to create a package is very simple. Right click and say new Java package. I'm going to create a package called as BCA. Let me click OK, finish it. So I have a BCA package, and here I am going to create a class, and I am going to create a class called as a teacher. So just to give you that thing. So I'm going to create a class called as teacher. Now inside teacher, let me add one public method. Let me zoom in for you. So let me zoom in for you. So I'm going to add one class for you. So what name I can say public void show student. Okay, I'm just creating one method over here. Now I want to access. So let's say I want to access. So here I want to access this student class inside this teacher. So remember, student is there in the BSc and teacher is there in the BCA. So this is a separate package. So you have a package, inside that you have teacher. You have one other package, inside this you have student. Now I want to use the student inside the teacher. How do I access that? To do that thing, inside the teacher, if I say student and yesterday, you will notice that you will get an error that cannot find the symbol called as class student. It's not there. So it just says that inside the location, you can notice that location is teacher. So inside this location, inside the teacher location, student class is not there. What is the meaning of that is the Java is going to say that student teacher is inside BSc, BCA. Now I can't find anything called as student inside BCA. How does the teacher came inside BCA? Not because I have added here. I have added one important statement that I have not added, but NetBeans has added. And what is that statement? Package is equal to BCA. Remember, this is one word that will make it part of the package. So how do I access it? To access a package of the file or the package which are there inside some other package. For example, the student is there inside BSc. To access that, I use one other word called as import. Remember, very important thing, you are going to write this statement first. You are not going to write the import first. This is not the way in which you can write it. Import cannot come first. So in a file, the first thing that has to come is the package. Okay, the first thing is package. Then I say import. Okay, import what? I have to specify what is it inside BSc. So I can say bsc dot student. So what is the meaning of that? I am going to get the student from the BCA package. So from the BCA package, I want to get the student and then use it. So hope you get the use of import statement. So you are importing the student. Now you may also have some other files. So for example, I am going to create one other class, even though I am not going to write anything, called as marks. Just say there is one other class called as marks. So let me show you over here. So there is one other class called as marks. So there are two classes are there. One is marks and other one is the student. Now I have imported only students. I cannot try to import. Let me go to the teacher over here. Inside teacher, I cannot say marks. If I say marks M1, I get a same error saying that the symbol is not found. So how can I get the marks? Again I have to say import. Inside BSC I have to get the marks. Hope you get that thing. Now if you have some other files over there, so let me say you have one other files. Let's say parent. How do I access the parent inside the teacher? So remember, marks, student, if you look at here, the marks, students and parents, they are there inside BSC and I want to use them inside BCA. How do I access them? So I can say, I can go to the teacher and I can say import. BSC is the package name. Then I can say parent. Okay. Now if you want to import, this is what I am saying. This first one, what is the first one? First one is the name of the package and the next one is the name of the class. Okay. So name of the package dot class name. Name of the package dot class name. Name of the package dot class name. Now suppose if you want to, instead of doing like all these things, there is a shortcut. And what is the shortcut? Shortcut is you just put star here. What's the meaning of saying star? Star means everything. All the classes which are there inside BSC. So that is the meaning of it. All the classes. Instead of giving one individual name, you can just say import BSC dot star. Star means all the files which are there or all the classes which are there inside that particular package will be automatically imported. So I can now say marks, I can say student, okay, S1, I can say parent, P1, I can create any variable. So this is how we can access the content. So let's look at that one. So this is what we are supposed to know. So whenever you are creating a package, what is important? First executable statement must be package followed by the name of the package. Then you write the definition of the class. So what is the meaning of this statement? There is a package called as what is it? There is a package called as book pack, and that's what's the meaning of it. There is a package called as book pack. There is a package called as book pack, and it contains a class. What is the name of that particular class? It contains a class. Let me change the color for you because you may not be able to see that. So it contains a class called as book. So book is inside book pack. So that's the meaning of it. Then you write the definition of the class. Okay. Now this is, you have done it in your NetBeans, which is very easy if at all you are doing it. Now what if you want to do it in the other way around? So that is in your command prompt. How can I do it? So if at all you want to do it in the command prompt, let me go here and I'm going to just copy my student here. So I want to access the student. I'm going to just copy paste this one. Okay, so let me take that whole student here. I'll go to my Notepad++. You may be writing it in the Notepad++. Let me set the language so that you can see the syntax being shown there, so it is easier. So I'm going to remove this remark statement. That's a remark statement that has nothing to do with the Java. So this is the package. Now how do I save this one? Remember, if at all you want to save it, then let me go here and then save it. Let me save it in my C drive or somewhere. I'm going to just save this file. So I'm going to say, let me go to some C drive, and I have a folder called as BSC. Let me delete all of them in order to, can I delete all of them? Okay, so I will, okay, I'm going to just create one other folder. Give me some time. So I'm going to just create a folder called as college. Okay, and you know very well the class name must be same as the file name. So file name, whatever name you give it to the class student, it is case sensitive, so I have to save it like student. Whatever class name you give, that must be the name of the file. Okay, so I'm going to just save it. Let me go to that location. Just assume that I have forget all these BSc, BC and other. Let me say I have a file inside college. Ignore all the other things, pretend as though you have not seen it. So there is college. Inside college you have student. Now what is the problem? I have given the name like package is equal to BSc. So but where is it now? This is inside college. Remember, it is wrong. Why? Because the student should be inside where? It should be inside BSc, not inside college. So if you try to compile it, you will get an error, because it's going to say that it is not proper. How do I compile it? Now remember, this file, where is the location where you have to place this file? This file, where is this file? Student.java has to be placed inside a folder called as BSc. This is the meaning of it. Whenever you say package, that means student is inside the package called as BSc. It must be there inside a BSc package, but where is it? It is inside the college package. So how do I compile it? So I'm going to create the command prompt here by typing CMD and press enter. So I am here in the college. Remember, I am here in the college. Ignore all the other things. I am there inside the college. I am there inside the college. If I dir it here, I can see student.java, this file. This is the file that I am referring to. This same file, I can see it here. Okay, it is in the command prompt. Now how do I compile it? I'm going to say compile Java C for compiling the file. Then I'm going to say -d, where is the location? I'm going to put a dot. Dot means, you know very well, there are two directories that you can see over here. One is dot and the other one is dot dot. What is the significance of it? Dot means current location. Where is my current location? I am inside college. Okay, I am inside college. What is the parent of this? Parent of this is BSc. Okay, dot dot means parent of the current directory. So what is the current directory? Dot refers to college. So let me show that. Dot refers to college. Dot dot refers to the parent of this particular folder. And what is the parent of this particular folder? Is BSc. Remember, that is in this example. In some other example, it can be something else. Okay. In this example, college is the current directory. I am inside college, and the parent of this college is BSc. Now, what I am specifying here is, I am saying that, let me show you that, dot here. What is the meaning of saying dot? Dot means current directory or current location. In the current location, I want to create a package. So in this location, in the college location itself, I want to create a package there. So that's the meaning of it, -d. You can specify some other location. You can do that. Let me compile it, and you know very well the rest part is same, and that is student.java. So if I press enter here, you will notice that it's going to compile and it's going to create a folder. Can you notice over here? It has created a folder called as BSC. Inside that BSC there is java.class. So where is java.class? Java.class is inside this package called BSC. So this is the correct way of doing it. Why it has to be, why the student.class has to be there inside BSC? That is because you have specified here that the package in which the student must exist is a BSC. So the student, remember, it is, I hope everybody is familiar with this. Java is your source file. This is your bytecode. So this bytecode must be there inside BSC. Now what if, I'm going to just delete this one and recompile it. Now what if you say BSC dot third sem, package is equal to BSC dot third sem, BSC dot, so I'll make it as third sem. So BSC dot third sem. So if I compile it, how is it going to look like? I'm going to just use the command prompt. Okay, look at what I've done. So here BSC, inside BSC there must be third sem. Now if I compile it, again same thing, Java C D and dot in the current location. If I compile it, before I do it, I'm going to just show you that folder there. So I'm inside the college. Look at here, this is the file that I'm trying to compile. That is, I'm going to zoom it for you, don't worry. So inside college there is a file called as a student, and I'm trying to compile it. So if I press enter, what I'm going to get now is I'm going to get the BSC folder, no doubt. Inside this BSC, if I double click, I'm going to get, I think I have not saved it. Let me try one more time. I have not saved that file. I just created everything and I forgot to save that file. Let me save it and then recompile it. I'm going to then recompile it. I have to close this one, it's not really required. Okay, let me show it one more time. I have the college, and last time it didn't work because I have not saved the file, and without saving, if you do it, it will use the last saved version. So now I'm going to compile it with the same option. Now when I save, when I compile it, let me do it here. So when I save it, what's going to happen? So if I press enter, you will notice it's going to create BSC, and inside BSC there is third sem. Inside third sem there is student class. So that's what it is saying. So there must be BSC. Inside BSC there must be third sem. And that is what it is saying. So there is BSC. Let me show it one more time. So there is this BSC. Inside BSC there is third sem, and there you have the java.class. So this is how you create the classes inside the other classes. This is how you compile the classes. Hope you get the idea there. Let me go to the PowerPoint. This is what you're going to do it. I will not talk more about it because you've already seen it. Now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to see how the members can be accessed. We will look at this interesting thing in the next class. Thank you for your interest. We will meet again in the next class.